All right, we'll go across live to Hyderabad House, where Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sri Lanka's President. In fact, these are the visuals that we are showing you, where the bilateral meeting is happening between Sri Lanka's delegation led by Kumara Dissanayake and Indian delegation led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So these are the visuals that we are showing you of the bilateral meeting happening between Indian delegation and Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka's delegation led by Kumara Dissanayake, Sri Lanka's president. So this is Sri Lanka's President Dissanayake is in Delhi, and his first foreign trip after coming to power to bolster bilateral ties between India and Sri Lanka. So these are the visuals that we are showing you, where the bilateral meeting is happening between India and Sri Lanka. India's delegation led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sri Lanka's delegation led by Kumara Dissanayake, and fostering strong ties with India's closest maritime neighbor, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and visiting Sri Lanka's President Dissanayake. They are holding the delegation level talks at Hyderabad House in New Delhi. So the two leaders held a discussion on an extensive agenda encompassing trade, investment, development and security. So post this meeting, India and Sri Lanka are expected to sign several agreements. So the last time Dissanayake visited New Delhi was when he headed a National People's Power delegation, and that time there was a lot of chatter of a quick change in the political landscape of Sri Lanka and him becoming the next president of India's neighbouring nation. So Kumara Dissanayake is visiting India for the second time in merely 10 months. However, this time he has arrived on a 3-day state visit. All right, we'll go across to Dear India's Jessica. Jessica, what more you can tell us? Meeting happening, bilateral talks are happening between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sri Lanka's President Kumara Dissanayake.
That's correct. And, at this juncture, as both of you and I speak, the two leaders have met and discussed their bilateral cooperation and looking at what more projects that the two countries would continue with, especially when it comes to connectivity and also energy. Remember, Sri Lanka right now, even though it is not in such economic distress as it was a couple of years ago, but it's still not out of the woods yet and still needs economic assistance. And also its debt recovery, its debt restructuring is something that Sri Lanka needs to look at very carefully and would need India's assistance. Now, you'd recall just 2 months ago, India had extended the debt repayment to the tune of about $1.75 billion. So, of course, the key IMF bailout as well can't be forgotten, which was given to Sri Lanka back when the Rajapaksas had fled and Sri Lanka had seen a massive economic downturn. So a lot on the agenda in that sense as well. But the Sri Lankan President Dissanayake will also be holding a meeting with the business community in a short while after this, once the press statement is given at Hyderabad House in New Delhi, where both Prime Minister Modi along with the Sri Lankan President Dissanayake will be here and will talk about the bilateral outcomes and the discussions that took place and what can be expected in terms of the momentum moving forward. The issue of Tamil Nadu fishermen who have time and again been arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy, and also an issue that could come up for discussion on how to have that issue resolved, particularly when we talk about the Pak Strait. So, of course, expect more on those lines as well. And a press briefing is due in a short while from now. So, these things will be made more clear as to what more details can be provided in terms of their detailed discussion, which still is ongoing. And you can expect the two leaders to come out and speak, give a press statement in just a short while from now.
But Jessica, agreements I think are likely to be signed maybe in cyber security, trade, investment, energy, and maybe maritime security too?
That's correct. Maritime security also an important component of the relationship between the two countries. Now, the Indian Ocean is a strategic space, as you know. 80% of India's oil imports take place on those waters. And Sri Lanka certainly is an important partner for India's maritime security and the Sagar initiative, which is the security and truth for all in the region. Given that, of course, Sri Lanka plays an eminent role there, and strengthening cooperation would certainly go a long way, as it has in the past as well. And it remains an important partner. You mentioned cybersecurity and trade, as also pointed earlier, energy connectivity, something that the country would need at this point, especially if you recall 2 years ago, where people were lining up outside petrol stations for 12 hours straight. There was no electricity. Things had come to a grinding halt for Sri Lanka, where tourism was affected. In fact, fertilizer trade was affected, and forex reserves were almost nearly gone, not even half. And a country that is right now staring at 100%, of its debt to GDP, will certainly need a lot more assistance from India, given that it has a timeline of another 5 years, which is 2028, since that IMF bailout package was given to Sri Lanka to give it some economic sustenance back then. So it would continue to seek India's support, and India, as in the past as well, would continue to enhance further regional connectivity with an important partner like Sri Lanka.
All right, Jessica, thank you for the time being, but yes, we'll keep coming back to you.